Hi, I'm Andrew Darlow, editor of ImagingBuffet.com. Today I'll be reviewing the MeFOTO Travel Tripod Kit. This one is the titanium and it's from the metallic collection. A code name A0350. Okay, let's first take a look at some of the specs. First, you'll see here there are 5 different colors available in the tripod, and the main specs are shown here in both imperial and metric. The first one is the length. That includes the head. It's only 12.6 inches long, which I think is really fantastic. You can put it into almost any bag, and it doesn't have to be hanging off the side of a backpack. It's just really nice to have it in such a compact form factor. Next is the weight, 2.6 pounds. Again, that includes the head, so I was really happy to see that. The next thing is maximum load, 8.8 pounds, which is quite a lot compared to a lot of other tripods I've seen. And next is the maximum height with the column retracted, which is 45.3 inches, and the maximum height with the center column extended, and that's 51.2 inches. I would really like that to be a little higher, but it's pretty darn good for how compact this tripod is. And there are 5 leg sections. That's good because you get that much added height. But that last leg section is a bit thin, so in many cases you may not even want to extend it. The way I decided to do this review, even though originally I did audio and video together, I'm going to just show some clips and then overdub, because I can get a lot more done and I can share information that is most important. What you see here is the case that the tripod kit comes in. It's very compact and it's really well made. It has a very strong shoulder strap, and it also has a little Velcro loop, so you can adjust the shoulder strap and keep the extra webbing very neat. Here I am taking it out. And what's really nice and what really sets it apart to start with are the reverse folding legs. And the overall build of the tripod is just very impressive. The aluminum alloy feels extremely strong, and it really has a feeling of quality. In this section, I'm going to show how to extend the legs. There are a few ways to do it. You can do it independently, but the fastest way is to just give it a turn like I'm doing, and all 4 of those knobs will release. Of course, everyone has different size hands, but I find that to be a really nice way to open it up. Now, obviously, I need to tighten them. So what I found was you can do it independently. It'll take about 12 to 15 seconds. Or, as you'll see when I close it up, you can actually do 2 at a time. I mean, most people probably can. And I thought that was just an interesting tip, which you'll see when I fold it up a little later. So at this point, I'm showing how the tripod works when neither of the 2 leg angles are set. So you can certainly, make it look like this, but it's not going to really help much because you can't get good leverage that way. This would just sit on the ground. Now, I would never use it like this because you don't really get much stability, but it's interesting to see. All right, now I'm going to show you the 2 different leg angles. And in this case, I set the metal stopper to the upper slot, which makes the angle more outward instead of inward. That's probably the best way I can describe it. You'll see basically what happens. It's not quite as stable as when you put it into the other slot. And here's a still photo to give you a better idea of what that whole section looks like. If you put some weight on the recessed center column hook, which I'm showing here, I think that can definitely make a difference. The hook itself is very strong and it stays in there really well, so it's a little hard to kind of get your finger in there, so you may want to use something like a carabiner to pull it down a little bit and then add some weight that way. In this position, you'll notice that the legs are much stronger and much more stable. And that's the setting that will give you the maximum height. Now I'm going to show you how to close down the tripod using the quick twist rubber lock grips. You can close them one by one, or you can, if your hand is big enough, do 2 at a time with 2 leg sections next to each other. Here I'm closing down the rubber lock grips one by one, and I'm showing it in real time so you can get a sense of how long it will take. And they close down pretty nicely, just like that with gravity. And then I will use a single twist of my hand to lock them all down. Now I'm going to show you the ball head that comes with the kit. It is a dual action Q series ball head. It has an Arca Swiss style QR mount and QR plate. That means that you'll need to unscrew it with your hand. It's not one that clicks into place, but it's really well made. It's all metal, and as you see here, I'm taking off the plate. It has a little bit of like a safety mechanism, but you still have to be careful. It also has a bubble level, which works for any horizontal work that you're going to do, and I find that to be really helpful. Here I'm showing the 1/4 20 screw, and you can use something like a coin to tighten it. And now I'm going to grab my Canon. This is a Canon T2i with a Canon 70-300 4 to 5.6 IS lens. Currently has a Black Rapid R strap on it. So I'm going to unscrew that and put the plate on. Now there are two ways, obviously, that you could put it on, horizontal or vertical. What's nice about this plate is it is symmetrical, so there's just two ways to do it, not four, like some other quick release plates. I'm showing here the fact that you can avoid covering a battery slot, at least on this particular camera, and many cameras are designed with this in mind, and you can slide it a little bit left or right, because you really don't want to be taking off that plate just to change a battery. So I'm tightening it up. Helps to have a little leverage. Should really turn off the camera, which I didn't do. And then I'm going to show you how I put it on. And so the way in which I put that on was horizontal. I got a little more surface area. You can put it on the other way, but you can see I'm unscrewing that little knob, and the way in which I like to put it on is like the way in which you're going to see in a second. You don't want to do the way that I just showed you, because that would cover up the bubble level. Instead, I like to have the bubble level right behind the LCD, and I like to have that tightening knob right under the lens, because it's easy to mistake that knob for the main knob that allows you to adjust your ball head. So that's my choice. If you put the plate on in the other direction, then obviously it's going to be in a different location. It has a really nice ability to set a precision amount of resistance, which I'm showing right now. I just put the resistance a little bit higher. So great for tracking, great for all kinds of different work. And you can also tighten it down very firmly. Now I just unscrewed what's called the pan lock, which is right under the main ball head lock. And I'm showing it right now. The smaller knob is the pan lock, and that allows you to rotate 360 degrees, and there's an index there that you can use if you're trying to follow a specific number of degrees per turn. As I'm showing now, the angle is fine, but in a really heavy wind, I wouldn't really necessarily want to just keep my camera like that without looking after it. So I'm going to move it to the wider click stop, and you'll notice in this case, when you go to the wider angle locks, it becomes more stable. When you have the legs very extended and you're at the wider angle, it's actually less stable. So just keep that in mind. The center column has the same type of rubber lock grip that you find on the legs, and it's very nice. It's really strong, and I could definitely work with it completely extended, unlike many tripods where when you extend that last section, things can get a little shaky and unstable. This is just a good example of how I might work with this tripod. And I should also note that if you like the design of this tripod, Benro also makes another tripod called the Benro MeFOTO A0350Q travel tripod kit. It's just a bit larger, so it's 15.4 inches as a folded length, 64 inches as a convertible monopod, which is an extra feature, and 61.6 inches for the maximum height with the column extended. So if you'd like more tips, news, reviews, and see my upcoming workshops, please visit imagingbuffet.com, and also please subscribe to the channel. Thanks. Bye-bye.